Kummels, I can't really talk for their bench. A lot of, I think, local PNG players in there, and as I say, they're an unknown quantity.
Well, without further ado, let's get into the 2008 Rugby League World Cup in the company of Phil Clark, Steve-O and Eddie Hemmings.
Thank you, John. Welcome back to Townsville. The 13th Rugby League World Cup is about to get underway. 10 teams, 18 matches, the final in Brisbane on November the 22nd, 4 weeks today. This World Cup will be beamed to over 130 countries around the world. Therefore, it'll be the most watched contest in rugby league history. As you can see, the two teams lining up for the national anthems. Tony Smith's England on the right of your screen there, unbeaten, of course, under Tony Smith at international level, so that record goes on the line here. If that record is maintained, it would virtually guarantee a place in the semi-finals of this World Cup, at least. First of all, the national anthem of Papua New Guinea, though. The 1st Battalion, the Royal Australian Regiment, together with representatives of the Townsville PNG Wontok Association.
Joy to be free, praising God and rejoicing to be Papua New Guinea. Shout again from the mountains to seas, Papua New Guinea. Let us raise our voices and proclaim.
Thank you. And now the English national anthem will be sung by Angie Currington, and she will be accompanied by the band again of the 1st Battalion, the Royal Australia Regiment. So there we go, the formalities just about over and done with. Papua New Guinea, of course, the whipping boys in this, the group of death, that includes the 3 superpowers of rugby league. But they will gain some invaluable experience here, and also against Australia and New Zealand later on in this competition. Steve-O, the Papua New Guineans are fired up. They really want to prove a point against England. They say they're going to give them one heck of a game.
I think in the opening 15 minutes they'll try to get into the faces of the English, that is for sure. Their coach Adrian Lamb have made it quite clear that Stanley Jean normally would have played at the loose forward position, has been switched to stand off. It's quite obvious that they want to try to emulate what Leeds did against St Helens in the grand final. They shut down Leon Price. He is such an impressive player, but they can get into his face. They may put him off. They'll try in the first 15 minutes to be extremely aggressive. He'll be very warm in the opening exchanges.
Yes, it will. Well, the man in pink, resplendent in pink, is the match referee Shane Hayne, and he's just about to blow the whistle that will start the beginning of this extravaganza of rugby league here in the Southern Hemisphere.
Here we go, boys.
As I say, it goes on for 4 weeks from today, and Sinfield gets the 2008 Centenary World Cup underway. And the opening exchanges will be fierce. That was Jamie Peacock and James Graham. Great first hit from the English captain there. Graham hounding the man at dummy half. Helped out there also by James Roby. Phil, the start for England is absolutely crucial.
This is the third time that England have played this year and been strong favourites in the game. On the two previous encounters, they've handled that favouritism well, and they've started games particularly strongly. I suspect they're going to do that exactly again. Great kick from Sinfield, and that's a pretty good set defensively to begin the World Cup.
Indeed so, the Papua New Guineans are moving it, or trying to. That's Trevor Exton. He's the prop forward who celebrates his 27th birthday during the course of this World Cup. And Stanley Jean with the left-footed kick downfield, and England will now have first use of the football. This is Eddie Gardner. A great chase though from the Papua New Guineans. Look at that, led by the prop forward Exton.
Tremendous work. It was a wonderful kick. They turn around Eddie Gardner, the winger. They know they've got to get good field position, but this is a very wide track. It really should favour the English lads tonight.
Tony Smith, the coach, said in the build-up to this he wanted England to play with some fluency, with some width, and they've been dubbed the entertainers.
Look at the
even
defence.
before a ball was kicked and the whistle was blown.
But the defence was from Papua New Guinea very strong indeed, and a few words being exchanged by Jamie Peacock. England cannot afford to be dragged into a down-the-middle game.
Roby
They've got
gives
too
it
much
to
quality,
Burrow.
Eddie, out wide.
Burrow with the kick downfield. It just skips away from Wilshire. Wilshire just fumbled at it. The Papua New Guinea captain from the Salford City Reds, of course, played in all four of the 2000 World Cup in the UK and Europe. And here he is now leading his country in this opening match that's been underway for 2 minutes. 0-0 here in Townsville, the Dairy Farmers Stadium, home to the North Queensland Cowboys. This is Neville Costigan, probably the biggest name in the lineup. A couple of state of origins for Queensland in 2007 for Costigan. He plays the ball, and it's driven forward, but good defence. No way through for Michaele Azu then. And again, Stanley Jean with a kick down the line. And a little fumble from Paul Wellens, and the Cummels are after him.
Well, oh, that was a high shot there.
It was Jesse Joe Parker, I think you might be hearing him referred to or seeing him referred to. Stanley Jean was involved as well. This is Keith Senior now for England. Gets the ball away to his Leeds teammate, Lee Smith. Well, they were under the impression this game would be fierce early, and the Papua New Guineans not letting us down, Phil.
It's been a great start as well, I think, here by England. They're also showing that you need to play with some intelligence. The passion amongst the Papuan defence is there for all to see. But look at the width now. Wide pass from Sinfield to Gardner.
Indeed, Gardner picking it up on the half volley, comes inside, escapes one would-be tackler. Super League's top try scorer is tackled by Rod Griffin. This is Roby. Up goes the kick from Sinfield. Gardner is after this.
Wonderful take there by Wilshire, under a lot of pressure, but there was plenty of players around him. It's all about field position, and up to now Kevin Sinfield is running the show at the moment.
Well, Papua have received the ball, Eddie, on 3 occasions, and every time it's been on about their 10-metre line, or even closer to the try line. That's a wonderful start in a World Cup opener.
Ooh, and Senior was there hunting the possible interception. This World Cup is 4 minutes old. We have the first injury news of the competition. Bill.
Yeah, the first blood spilt in the England cause, that by Keith Senior. You probably catch him with a strapping around his forehead. He's got a bang over the eye. There was blood pumping out of it, so he's already spilled blood for the cause. Have to tell you, Eddie, sitting down just behind me, the Burgess brothers, Luke and Sam. Sam doing his recuperation over here, having had a shoulder injury. Spoke to him before the game. He said, I just wish I was the other side of the fence. I'm so envious.
I'm sure he is, as Wellens drives the ball forward, and England doing the best, of course, to paper over the crack that Burgess has left. Only 4 prop forwards coming over here, recognised prop forwards. There's one of them, James Graham, and Roby.
The difference between the two sides, Eddie, is that England is getting over the advantage line. Every time the Papua New Guineans have the football, they're struggling to do that.
This is Graham again, and he gets a great offload into Rob Burrow.
This is where they need to do the link. It has to go out wide.
Last tackle here, and Price. He finds Sinfield. Wide they go. This is Gleeson. Gleeson gives it to Gardner. Great defence, though, from the Papua New Guineans. And look at the way they celebrate.
David Moore stood his ground against Gardner. He said, come and get me. and Moore certainly did that. It was very effective. They got the ball out wide in the 3/4. That is great stuff. Bang, straight into the corner. And look at the jubilation and the celebrations amongst the Papua New Guineans.
David Moore is an up-and-coming youngster from the Gold Coast Titans.
Eddie, England haven't scored yet in this match, but I tell you what, it's been a perfect start. You get your opponents where you want them in a game of rugby league, then you intensify the heat on them, keep them there until eventually they crack.
Papua New Guinea trying to work the ball away. That was Gareth Ellis with a good tackle. And that was Ayton, who was the dummy half. Good defence again on the prop forward, Trevor Exton.
The most important fact, which will be pleasing their coach, Tony Smith, is the fact that the first and second markers, they're splitting very, very quickly. That's a silly penalty to give away by Gareth Hock.
It was Stanley Jean who was trying to get up and play the ball quickly. First penalty of the match here.
He's a tremendous player, Gareth Hock, but at times he just lets himself down. There was never going to be any doubt when he went for the second pull of the leg. And all that hard work, the kick and chase, which was excellent, has just been frittered away.
First penalty of the World Cup, as I say. And Papua New Guinea now begin this set of 6 on the halfway line. Here goes Makele Azu from Hull Kingston Rovers, well known, of course, back home in the UK. Paul Ayton is the dummy half, calling for the runners to go back on the inside, which he does. And it was that man, Neville Costigan, talking to Steve McNamara just before the match, the assistant coach for England. He said this fellow wearing number 11 is a very, very dangerous player in the Papua New Guinea lineup, and he's proving it. Wilshire, he's escaped Burrow. He almost got away from Lee Smith. Local support here on the side of the Papua New Guineans. As the scrum half, Keith Peters, gives it a bit of width. They go up the middle, it's another great offload. Desperate defence from Paul Wellens.
Wonderful ball by the prop forward, Azu. Nearly came up with the first try of the game.
Stanley Jean will stab the ball to the in-goal area, and fortunately for England, Paul Wellens there to the rescue.
Just shows you give away a silly penalty. Gareth Hock did that, left them in a wonderful position. It was a wonderful kick through from Stanley Jean. They're gaining in confidence, but they will do if you give them penalties. Beautiful play. Wellens is normal, good position.
Well, Stanley Jean, he's already got a hat-trick before this World Cup begins. This is the third time he's lined up in a World Cup, making his debut for the Commonwealths in 1995 in the tournament then. Trevor Exton driving the ball in on the first tackle here after that. You think he's dropped the ball, hasn't he?
I'm not surprised with the tackle from James Roby. He's not the biggest player in an England shirt, but just look how he gets so low, hits up underneath the ball, and invariably good defensive technique is rewarded. I think there's a fumble. Just loses control of the ball, I think, off one of the players.
Yes, it was the England man at Marco, wasn't it? He almost put the ball on the back of his wrist. It was the first tackle from that goal line dropout.
It just shows you there that because Papua New Guinea would try to get on and rush and play the ball quickly, Exton came up with the error. There's a heavy bandage around the head of Keith Senior.
This is Lee Smith taking on to Maori.
It's important now that England just settle down, use the big forwards, get themselves into a good position.
Morley will, Peacock will drive the ball forward again. Just wondering when Adrian Morley will be introduced, because although we have talked a lot about the cooling, balmy breezes here in Townsville, it's very intense out there, and the way that Tony Smith and Adrian Lamb, his opposite number, will use their substitutes tonight could be absolutely crucial as well, as Price takes them on again.
Nice step by the standoff. We want to see more of that as well. Got to ask a lot of questions tonight as Leon Price.
Sinfield hoists a high kick. Well claimed, very well claimed, and an important tackle coming in from Keith Senior on George Kepper.
Well, they've tested them out. They thought it was going to be a bit of a problem for the Papua New Guinean side.
Interesting that, Steve-O, the man tackled in the air, or at least a collision in the air. It's one of the international interpretations that are different on both sides of the world.
I think he got away with the fact that Lee Smith didn't put the arms around him. He just made contact with him. Obviously, the interpretation
that was a
really
penalty.
different. that looks forward. Oh, it's
No,
a
no,
penalty.
it's a penalty. He played the ball off the ground. The tackle was completed, and Costigan, despite all of that experience, he passed the ball after the tackle completed.
Well, we get to see Leon Price a lot in an attacking Super League. We're going to see how good he is defensively tonight, because Neville Costigan is going to aim down that left-hand side of the field and command much of the possession when PNG have the ball.
Now this is where they've got to surprise their opposition here, not just take 2 or 3 drives, but try to keep it alive, and that's the reason why Tony Smith has selected Gareth Hawke. He has the ability to offload.
And here now is Gareth Ellis.
Now this is a
20
perfect
metres
position
away.
for Leon Price to take them on.
Burrow to Sinfield. Here is Graham. Costigan getting him low down though with the tackle. Roby scoots in at dummy half, has a run, gets it away to Peacock. He bumps them off. Roby again. England just 3 metres short of the line. Roby to Burrow. Burrow to Price. And Price standing, thinking about the offload, surrounded in the end.
There should have been someone there. He had the opportunity. Someone coming in on the angle. That would have been a try for sure, but has he got it in Gardner?
He has. Aidy Gardner with the first try of the World Cup for England. Well, they had a scare at the other end about 2, 3, 4 minutes ago. And then they get up the other end of the field. Wonderful bullet pass wide, and Gardner over for the first try of this World Cup. Super League's top try scorer this year has come up trumps for his country.
Quick hands, good work down that short blind side. Excellent stuff in the end. But you must say they had the golden opportunity. Leon Price swung, stepped back on the inside. He offered the ball. There was no support there, but they certainly made up for it. Beautiful time pass. He knows the way to the line, this fellow, as Eddie has already explained. The leading try scorer sneaks in at the corner.
Yes, Aidy Gardner, St Helens, winning his 3rd cap for his country. That's England, of course, and James Graham. You can see the perspiration, the effort on the faces of these players.
Do you know what, Eddie? I think the eyes of a hooker are possibly the most important aspect that any team have. And James Roby was the player then who identified the space for Aidy Gardner. You know what? The hooker touches the ball more than any of the players in the game, probably 100 times in a match, and he has to make the right decisions. That was a perfect one from James Roby.
And that is a fantastic kick from Kevin Sinfield. There's the bench, Maguire and Morley watching on as Sinfield converts the 4 into 6 from far out on the touchline. Great try, great conversion.
Well, you saw the dummy runner just being utilised there. Stanley Jean was confused. He thought it was going to be the short pass. It went right across to the winger, Gardner. Well, it's just what England needed. They needed to settle it down a little bit.
Stay back, boys.
So Wiltshire will restart for Papua New Guinea. England ahead here by 6 points to 0. Wellens underneath the kickoff. Here is James Graham, bumps off one. Can't get away from the next 2 in. Roby. Leon Price. Gareth Ellis. 14 minutes gone. 6-0 and a penalty to England. Adrian Lamb, the Papua New Guinea coach, saying before the match, in the build-up to this, that they had to match England's discipline. He knew that England would be disciplined under Tony Smith. The Cummels have to match them.
Certainly is. It was a silly play by the second row, Nightingale. The tackle had already been completed. And even at this early part of the game, I just get the impression that the Cummels are struggling somewhat. They're trying to hold England down at the play the ball area, but you can see quite easy now. They're getting over the advantage line.
Good hands. This is Wellens. He was on the shoulder of his teammate Leon Price from St Helens. 14 of the 17 on duty tonight, either from St Helens or Leeds. The 2 teams, of course, who contested the grand final. Good hands again, and here is Lee Smith down the wing for England. He escapes one tackle, and he might have just got this ball down.
I don't think so. That was great work to keep him off of the ground.
And they pushed him back into the field to play as well. Oh, and Graham just went without it. So close to the second try.
Golden opportunity, Eddie. Because they'd spread the defence, quick play of the ball. But full credit to them. They got back in numbers. how they stopped him, pulled him back. Wilshere just added that extra little bit of a pull to stop Smith scoring.
Well, it's been a dream start, hasn't it, to the national coaching career of Tony Smith. He won 4 in charge of Great Britain in 2007. He's won both England internationals so far against the French and the Welsh, and he's leading here in the opening match, the opening rubber of the World Cup 2008 by 6 points to 0.
Good play by the fullback, John Wilshere.
England give away a penalty.
Just a little bit too eager, a little bit nervous, I feel. I just get that impression that, you know, a lot of pressure now is being applied to England. They would expect it to win easy against this outfit tonight, and maybe just a little bit jittery.
Well, they've handled the pressure so far well this year. Favourites to win against France and did so comfortably. The same against Wales. There is that element that people expect them to put a few points on the board here, but as we've all identified, the Papua New Guinea team will be strong, particularly in the first 40 minutes of this match. I suspect fatigue might set in. It's about controlling the ball in these conditions. You tend to tire more in rugby league when you have to defend. It takes far more out of the side when you're running forward and back to get on side with the referee. Ball control is important tonight.
Stanley Jean flicks the pass. The England defence again standing square. Costigan, who was brought down. This is Peters. Rob Burrow was hunting the interception. Peters takes the return, flicks the pass then to Maori. And Maori, good footwork, but good tackle low down by Sinfield, helped out by Peacock. Here is Peters again, the scrum half. Gets it away to Rod Griffin.
Fair play to the Cummels. They're keeping this ball alive.
Always going to Stanley Jean on the last tackle for the kick. Gets the ball in behind Gardner. That will stand up there, and that's great chasing by Papua New Guinea again.
Good work, David Moore. It's the second occasion. Stanley Jean really is having a bit of a field day there. He's certainly enjoying playing in the standoff position, and that's all you need. Second set, drop out underneath the sticks.
Now, what Papua New Guinea will not want to do in this next set of 6 is to lose the ball or give away a penalty on the first tackle as they did last time.
I've just got to wonder when they're going to take off the second rower, Neville Costigan. He's got through a heap of work, both carrying the football up and in defence.
That's Moni, the substitute, another player from the domestic competition in Papua New Guinea. George Moni and Paul Ayton. Has the most NRL experience of anybody, this fellow with number 9 on his back. This is Stanley Jean. Talk about experience. There's no one more experienced in the world than Stanley Jean. Oh, that ball though is lost. It was actually stolen. It's a penalty to Papua New Guinea, says Shane Hayne. That's the 5th penalty of the World Cup, and it's 3-2 in that department to the Papua New Guineans. 6-0 though on the scoreboard where it counts.
Well, a golden opportunity, and you'll find that Leon Price certainly had the hand in there. Gleeson tried his damnedest to keep away, saying I wasn't involved in the tackle.
All right, go now when you're ready. Hold in, boys.
They just going to do the tap. They're not going to bother putting it, booted in a touch.
This is Rodney Pora. He drives it in. Ayton will wait and direct the traffic from dummy half. They're going down that left-hand side.
Watch for the crisscross pass again.
That was Costigan once more. That's a good ball to the loose forward Griffin, and Griffin has scored for Papua New Guinea. Rod Griffin. Well, he's normally a big back row forward, all 15 stone of him, and he had the power then to get over the line. And England are pegged back here in Townsville. Rodney Griffin, just 21 years of age.
And fully deserved as well. They've been running the angles, and you could see that England held back. They were anticipating an inside pass, and Griffin certainly got it down. The attention of Roby was insufficient. They expected the dummy runner to come back. They thought it was going to be George Moni, but it was this man Griffin that went over, and boy are they celebrating. Fully deserved. 45 metres, they trail that ball down the field. Pressure kick now for John Wilshere, the skipper.
Well, his last kick in competitive football, of course, was the kick that took Salford to extra time in the National League One Grand Final. That was a pressure kick, that was easy for him. And Makele there, look at him, second from the left of the screen, just screaming the encouragement to his players out there. It's 6 apiece.
You know, some players are able to find another level when it comes to playing internationally, and I think Stanley Jean has done that in this game here tonight. He's been strong and powerful when he's carried the ball. In fact, too strong for Leon Price on a previous occasion there, which got them that penalty. And as a result now, they are back in this game, buoyed again now with confidence and energy.
Yes, it's an important period of the match coming up for England, you think. They've certainly got their tails up at the moment as Jason Chan drives the ball in. Here is Wilshere.
Been impressed with the fullback Wilshere, and also by the way that they're controlling the ruck area by the hooker Paul H. And what a great break as well.
Desperate defence from Martin Gleeson, it had to be. And this Papua New Guinea side have gained tremendous encouragement from that try. That was Peters, this is Stanley Jean. He just drills the ball out over on the far side.
And they were quite happy with that. Got the scores level. Been utilised well. Adrian Lamb was confident. Here's another replay of the try. And England, I'm afraid, they hesitated. They were hoping for that crisscross to come right on the different angle. And the second rower, should I say the loose forward, Rod Griffin, look at the way that they celebrated.
Down to Bill again on the side.
Well, you wondered when we'd see Adrian Morley. He's down on the sidelines now. He's taken his yellow sideline bib off, and he's ready to come on, just stretching. So he's recovered from that stomach injury. Saw him pick it up towards the end of the Super League season, and he's fully fit according to the coach, and he's raring to go now, just waiting for his chance to come on.
Good run meanwhile from Peacock. Roby is the dummy half. England 40 metres away. Graham switched the direction of the attack with that run, went on the inside, then came back out down the left-hand side. And here now is Ellis once more, gets it away to Lee Smith. Oh, that's great defence from George Kepper.
Boy, they're fired up, aren't they?
Well, they are, Steve-O. This group leaves them little room for manoeuvre, of course. It's an almost impossible task. But they said facing England first up was probably as good as it could get for them. And they really wanted to prove a point. Papua New Guinea, the only team and the only nation in this World Cup who says that rugby league is its national sport. They feel hard done by. They're in this group.
Yeah, a lot of controversy when they were heaped into what they're calling the group of death. But it just shows you the improvement that you can put to any side, irrespective of where you come from. If you score a try, it's amazing what it does for your confidence. And once they got the try, they're playing some damn good rugby league football.
Eddie, sometimes when a team get infected by enthusiasm, as the PNG side have at the moment, the opposition can tend to feel sorry for themselves and put their heads down. England can't afford that. They need to lift with some enthusiasm as well.
And they can't allow runs like that from Jesse Joe Parker. Fantastic run, gets them to the halfway line. Here is Ayton. And at the moment, England are facing a little bit of a crisis.
They certainly are. They're missing tackles.
This is James Nightingale.
Well, they've made it quite clear all this week. England said they are not taking Papua New Guinea lightly.
They're certainly not now.
They expected a tough one.
And there's a drop ball here from Nightingale. There's a lost ball, says Shane Hayne.
Well, that's a big relief for the English guys, I'll tell you. Was it helped? I think it was helped there by Senior, just pulling the ball away on the blind side, not seen by the referee, Shane Hayne. Well, Tony Smith has got to get the message out. Do not panic. A few of the guys in the defensive line, they were going out one up. They've got to go as a unit. They've got to be solid.
Adrian Morley, by the way, receiving the ball here, is on for Gareth Hock, and Stanley Jean was offside then. The referee shouted his name out, told him to keep out of it. Couldn't resist the temptation though, made the tackle, and has conceded the penalty, which Sinfield now will dump into touch over on the far side.
Well, you'd anticipate maybe two drives to go towards the centre of the post, and then they'll utilise the blind side, I feel. Graham getting through a lot of work.
Roby waits 10 metres away. Roby looks for the runners. Leon Price is that runner. An important job being done in defence by George Money. Roby again. Gets the ball to Morley. Morley dumps it back to Roby. Was that stolen as he was going for the line?
Knock
or did
on.
he lose it? It's a knock on.
Well, a golden opportunity just frittered away, but let's give some credit to the defensive effort by the Papua New Guineans. Quite a few of their supporters have come over. That's the way to get under the ribs. It was a good offload. Maybe the hand went to cross. Just reefed the ball away. I think there's a stray finger gone into... appears to be a bit of claret on the top of the head.
What's he doing? Staying on here, take him off.
May have caught the eye. Oh,
Is it Jesse
screaming
Joe?
out.
I think it's Jesse Joe. And wasn't it his hand involved in the ball when it came free?
Take him out the back so we
It
can
is
get going.
Jesse Joe, yes. He's going to come off, I think. It's just saved a try. You've got to give PNG the credit. That goal line defence was impressive.
Oh,
It
look
was.
at the blood just streaming away.
Boys, just come back.
That's certainly
Come back.
Stitch's job.
Turn back on.
Well, I don't think anybody anticipated that the scoreline would be level after 25 minutes.
We knew it would be a torrid opening, though, didn't we, from Papua New Guinea? We knew that they would have a real go at England to begin with. And boy, they have here. 6 points apiece, 26 minutes of the match gone.
We thought they'd be a little bit negative in just trying to stop England and concentrating on that. But to be fair, they're making the breaks.
And here's another break. And another neat offload. And they have plenty of men in support. And Senior was, well, he was quick to spot the danger. Oh, now about that.
Super stuff.
Stanley Jean will not take a backward step. Here's Charlie Wabo. Very quick, this substitute hooker. Good drive in there by Moni.
Look at this. Superb from Wabo.
Stanley Jean, that ball was out in the full. He actually hit the whitewash, so it's the turnover.
That's why a left-footed kicker is better on the left side of the field, Eric. Naturally, he kicks the ball better that way, doesn't he? He's drifted over to the right. The ball's come to him to kick it. And that's a pretty good result for England, because physically they lost a lot of those collisions in that previous set.
It surprised me, Phil, that Stanley Jean didn't go for length.
Burrow being tipped in the press here as being the little big man in this World Cup. Roby gets it away to Peacock.
Great run by the skipper.
Roby again finds Leon Price. Price gets it wide to Wellens, to Gleeson rather. Comes back, and Price picks up the pieces for England. Goes round one. Roby scampers in at dummy half again. It's with Sinfield now. Oh,
Didn't miss either.
they're taking no prisoners. It's Burrow. Wellens is on his shoulder. Wellens over the top to Lee Smith. Try for Lee Smith. Following on from his man of the match performance in the grand final, Lee Smith over in the corner to the delight of the England supporters. He limps away from that. It was another hefty challenge, but great work from England, Steve-O.
Certainly was, and the way that Rob Berry, they anticipated that it was going to go for the kick. It was a delayed flat pass to the fullback, Paul Wellens, but they had the numbers out wide. Sort of a problem there for the try scorer, but there's a big smile on his face, and they were under pressure. They had to come up with the points, and this young fella has. Tremendous game in the grand final, of course. And the man of the match award.
And this is
Fully
his first
deserved as
appearance,
well.
Steve-O, at the very peak of international rugby league. He's played for England in the Federation Shield in the past, but this, the first big test for Lee Smith.
Well, that's all they got to do. We mentioned before the game started, Eddie, the fact that this playing surface is very, very wide. And when you compare the two sides, we have the speed out wide. So it's no excuses for not scoring the winger. We've had one from Gardner on one side and now Lee Smith. And does that look as though it's over?
It is a fantastic kick again from Kevin Sinfield. We speculated throughout the course of the Super League season, Phil, that England needed a top-line goal kicker. They found him in Sinfield.
Well, they've got one of the best, haven't they? In our studio, Martin Afai will tell us all about the fact that wingers gain their confidence from scoring tries. Gardner has one on the right, Smith now one on the left. And I've said before that I think that the winners of this tournament will have the tournament's top try scorer in it. They tend to be the wingers or outside backs. Let's see if we can get 1 or 2 more for the 2 and 5 tonight.
So England back in front 12-6. By the way, if you hear any thumps, bumps and bangs tonight, I have to tell you that we are in a commentary box at the stadium here in Townsville, right next door to Adrian Lamb, the Papua New Guinea coach. And when Lee Smith went over for that try, I don't know whether one of the massive moths that populate this part of the world was in his box, but boy, he banged the table in absolute anger. Here is Fasavalu.
Good option as well by the coach, Tony Smith. As soon as they've scored the try, just inject someone that they'll ask many, many questions, and he's not better. He's such a big man, isn't he? Fasavalu, and that's great work from the hooker, Roby.
Yes, he's having a growing influence on this game, Roby. He was tackled there by the substitute, Rodney Pora. Here is Burrow. Now it's Ellis. No one in this England side wants to do better in this tournament than Ellis. Bound, of course, for West's Tigers next year. Great ball from Burrow. That's off the head. Wilshire's in goal, and he's trapped in goal. No, the referee says it's a knock-on.
Well, the message is quite clear now. Tony Smith has said we've done enough trying to go down the middle. I think he will be perhaps surprised that the defence from the forwards have been pretty strong in that department. That's where the points are going to be scored. I'm not so sure that the man played at the ball on that occasion either way. Well, Burrow growing in confidence as this game has progressed.
Singled out in the papers down here this week as likely to have a big impact on the tournament. The likes of Steve Nash, Roger Millwood, Alex Murphy, all being compared to Rob Burrow. He's certainly big in heart and spirit, but so is this fellow, Stanley Jean. He's the standout figure for Papua New Guinea so far.
He's having a wow of the game, and that's the reason why Adrian Lamb has put him into that position. Such an important at standoff, is controlling things there, not only with the hand on the ball, but the way that he's kicking. Okay, he came up with a bad one the last occasion. There is the little halfback, Rob Burrow.
And interference at the ruck by Adrian Morley.
It's going to be a problem, Eddie. The interpretations, especially with the Australian referees. Tony Smith has had a talk with all the referees and saying, look, are we going to be strict on this particular area? And it's always difficult when you're away from home.
It is, and England really feel that they're in a no-win situation here, because everyone back home expects them to win handsomely. Everyone here doesn't want Papua New Guinea to lose by a massive margin, because they say if that happens, it affects the credibility of the tournament.
What you've got to remember, England are currently playing a side with almost a perfect DNA for rugby league. So many of the players are physically that powerful that they're winning collisions despite some pretty determined defence from England, and that is making this game a real contest.
And a good ball from Jean finds Neville Costigan. And there's Charlie Wabo at dummy half. Gets the ball away to Jean again. Price was hunting, managed to get the tackle in on John Wilshire. And this now is David Moore. Turns 20 next week, David Moore.
Will they do the short side again with Stanley Jean? They are.
Wabo and Jean will put the kick in. That ricochets off an English leg.
That'll be play on.
It's back to 0 in the tackle count, says the referee. Wellens couldn't take it in, the loose ball. So here come the Cummels again.
Well, it wasn't the best kick from Stanley Jean, but they got the ricochet, and then a little knock on.
Michael Ezu will play it here to Wabo. Danger again for England after they have regathered the lead. There's the man, Stan the man, who is directing operations for the Papua New Guinea side. On the bounce, it finds Peters. Good width, he finds Wilshire. Great tackle. Fantastic tackle from Burrow. Danger here with Chan. England up to the task in defence. 4 tackles gone. As Peters finds Griffin. Last tackle for the Papua New Guineans. Wabo is waiting at dummy half. What have they got in the locker here? Again, it's Stanley Jean. Again, it ricochets back off her leg. This time Stanley Jean loses it, and England breathe a sigh of relief.
Do they ever? What a game this guy's having. You talk about certain players having an influence throughout the course of a first half or second half, but he's just been everywhere, hasn't he?
Oh, it was forward. It was a forward pass, and John Wilkin was away.
Big call
Martin
there by
Gleeson.
Shane Hayne.
Martin Gleeson is the man who has been pulled back for the forward pass.
But he just delayed slightly. Wilkin was well and truly away.
You need to be able to ride through the tough times, Eddie, if you want to lift the trophy on the 22nd of November. And this is a tough period here for England. A sustained period of possession for PNG and a test of the goal line defence. Can they handle these 6 tackles?
Well, 5 minutes to go to half-time. Stanley Jean gets it away to the centre, Maori, who finds Wilshire, and they're coming down this left-hand side again. England having to muscle up in defence. They did then. They have to muscle up again here. They repel the borders. Was that a fumble at the play of the ball? The referee allows Papua New Guinea to play on. It's with Wilshire once more.
It's a pretty condensed defence as well. They've got to make sure they go up as a unit.
Here's Stanley Jean. Lovely flick out the back door to Makele Ezu.
It's super stuff, this.
Wabo to Stanley Jean once more. Great ball from him. They're in. It is Jason Chan who is in for Papua New Guinea. Wonderful, fluent attacking football from Papua New Guinea. And Jason Chan. England have lost the lead if this kick goes over. And you would say with Wilshire in the goal-kicking form that he is, that it will be 12 apiece in a minute.
Well, fully deserved. The cutout pass, you could see that Senior, I made the point that Britain were condensed. They've got to go as a unit, but you can see Senior, he's left in no man's land. Nothing that Rob Burrow could do about that. It should have been man-on-man marking. And are they happy? Of course they are. Absolutely wonderful play. And the England players and the fans, many thousands have travelled down here to Australia, and I've got to say they are stunned.
This is where we're solid, right? So on this kick-off set,
Well, there's the PNG assistant coach, actually the brother of Adrian Lamb. When you talk about Adrian Lamb's experience in the game, Eddie, he played against Great Britain back in 1996, and I know that him and his team manager Bob Bennett are still disappointed that they lost 32 points to 30. They thought on that occasion they had a chance of winning, and I think that Adrian Lamb senses tonight, maybe this could be the night they do get the win.
Beautiful play, but Tony Smith will be livid at the fact that there's someone out in no man's land. You really cannot blame the little halfback Rob Burrow. He realised that Senior had gone in to the invisible man. There was no one there, and boy, they know how to celebrate this mob. Oh, game on.
Very much so.
It's
12
a classic.
All. 12 all, and as you heard, Adrian Lamb's brother telling the players this is the time when they have now to dig deep and just hang on to half-time. Well, I say hang on, they have played some sensational stuff, haven't they? And they have a penalty here.
Not standing square, according to the official. Jeremy Peacock realises he's got to come up with something. And they will be taking the time here.
5-3 the penalty count to Papua New Guinea. As Great Britain at international level, they have met Papua New Guinea 8 times. They have never lost to the Cummels. At the moment it's 12 apiece, and we've just got over a minute and a half to half-time.
I was under the impression, Eddie, that perhaps after 30 minutes that the Papua New Guinean side would be running out of steam, but they're so full of confidence, they're super fit. You've got to give them that.
Well, they've had the majority of the possession in the last few minutes, and that's what's making them look so dangerous. Quick play the balls, England hanging on.
Play the ball quickly, that's what they're trying to do, and we nearly went without it. Here's Griffin again. This is a big minute.
Well, they made a right porridge of that. It was a wonderful high kick. Peter's got plenty of height on it, and I suspect that this is going to be in the positive. They're all on side.
Past that incident.
Video referee is Steve Clark, having another look at it from another angle.
It's hit the whitewash, that's all it's got to do.
Well, this could be sensational.
Oh, Papua New Guinea going in at half-time with at least a 4-point lead. And you see the look on the players' faces as the England mob are just in one group behind the in-goal area there.
Well, here comes the decision from the video referee.
Surely it's
Clark.
TRY.
Try is given. Papua New Guinea will take a lead with them into half-time. They've hit the front for the first time in the match. It's 16-12. And George Kepper, he has been compared to Marcus Bai for his running style. Plays in the Queensland Cup. And John Wilshere, you know, if there's a goal kicker who can convert this, you're looking at him. Remember, just think back to that pressure kick in the National League One Grand Final for Salford at Warrington before this tournament got underway. Now then, what can Wilshere do? Oh, it looks good. Just faded in front of the post. Half-time siren sounds. England ahead twice. But when it counted, the Papua New Guineans struck back just before the interval. It's England 12, Papua New Guinea 16.